The Chief Justice to investigate the WikiLeaks saga has thrown out the case, according to information available to Joynews, and the allegations cannot be substantiated. Okay, let's go on to the phone lines now and speak with Sir John. Kojo Uswefrie is the General Secretary of the NPP, and he has asked the Chief Justice to investigate the case. Good evening to you, sir. So we have lost him, but we'll still try to get him back on the line. But let's go to our earlier story where the Bar Committee has thrown out the WikiLeaks case. It appears we're having some technical challenges there. We'll address it pretty soon. But the aspiring General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Captain Nkrabea Ifadate, is blaming the leadership of the party for the NPP's defeat in 2 presidential elections. According to him, the NPP lost the election because the current leadership lacked the ability to control the electoral process in spite of the caliber of presidential candidates.
We are a democratic party. We are having an election. For instance, this next on 25th of January, we are going to have regional elections. Anybody who is a qualified member of the party and wants to contest should be given access to the forms, the nomination forms, sign, fill them, you'll be vetted, and you put yourself available for election. We are going to do the same for the national office. Now, when you truncate the process, when you create the impression that you want to monopolize the forms, when you create the impression that you have certain selected special chaps that you want them to stand to win so they can vote for you, then these difficulties arise. And when you go down or when you go behind all the controversies, you will realize that it is because in some constituencies or some polling stations, people were trying to manipulate the system that led to all these controversies. In fact, that is one reason why Nkrabea has to become the General Secretary, because under my watch, this type of thing won't happen. We will surely return to politics and give you all those details there. But the use of recycled water bottles for the sale of food and drinks in the country has become widespread. Health authorities are worried the use of the bottles might trigger a major public health crisis.
The recycled bottles come in handy to the indigenous food industry. Scavengers search for these bottles and sell them to local beverage making groups, especially Sobolo and Burkina. Though some of these persons argue they buy new bottles to package their produce. Al-Hassan is a middleman in the recycled bottle industry. He has been dealing in recycled bottles for 33 years now. He buys and sells cooking oil, soft drinks and used water bottles.
So gallon me turn about 3 cedi. So I call about bottle me turn for 2,000. Patrick for anopaba anamito.
It's also the same amount.
So do a probably about 4,000, Mrs. Mato for 2,000. Mato some Maton soon, and I'm a whole fine. So busy but about Mammy.
Donyo buys these bottles to package her Sobolo.
Yeah, I'm washing Yanka Saya Consul, a son washing. Yeah, Miss Numidi liquid soap. A good summer, my soak, Adichia, my whole room. Your room we are not so bologna, the sugar to Vienna, Mashishe.
Joynews visited where the bottles collected are treated and reused in packaging. Though the owner refused to speak to the news team, we observed the bottles are dipped into a bowl of soapy water and cleaned with a towel and a stick. But where these bottles are collected raises health concerns. And health authorities contend just washing it with soap and water is not enough to kill the various bacteria and pathogens that might be contained in the bottles through its various transitions to the final user.
Here is a case where a lot of bottles are coming together, put them together in the one, so you don't know where this one is from, where this one. So there's a quick exchange. Even in theater, in medical circles, if I'm doing something on your skin, I have to just wipe your skin in one particular direction, and it's assumed that if I wrap in the opposite direction, I'm likely to increase the chances of infection. So these things are, if something falls, I'm in this room, I'm in the hospital. If something of mine falls and I pick it up, I'm usually scared. because people walk in and out of my room. My pen falls. I need to make sure that I clean it very well, because pathogens and bacteria, they are all over in the environment, and the closer we are to them, the more risk we give ourselves to.
Senior Medical Officer at the Ridge OPD, Dr. Bote, advocated regulation to prevent a public health hazard.
We can still let people do their indigenous foods, but then let's get associations, teach them wholesome ways of giving it the things we love. A lot of people love the soup, a lot of people like their ice kinky. Let's teach them the wholesome way of putting these things and giving it out onto us.
Dr. Bote believes the Food and Drugs Authority and the Ghana Standard Board must also assist local beverage producers with high pressurized equipment to help sterilize recycled bottles to make them safe for use. He will, however, not call for its ban. Yafusia Jemfi, reporting for Joynews.
Let's now go back to the WikiLeaks saga, and Samson Ladi Ayenene is a legal practitioner who's going to help us explore this issue. Good evening to you, sir. Hello, good evening to you, Samson. Our telecommunications has been very terrible this moment, but let's move on with some other stories. Now, residents of rural communities in Tamale in the northern region want electricity extended to their area. According to them, they trek long distances daily to Tamale Township to undertake activities that involve the use of electricity, and that is impacting negatively on their livelihoods.
Of communities including Datoyoli, Dakbamili, and Zozugu say they travel long distances daily, paying exorbitant lorry fares to either watch football or grind their maize with electric grinding machine. They claim that their meager income is unable to sustain this and want government to come to their aid. The Metropolitan Chief Executive of Tamale, Abdul Hanan Gundado, led members of the Assembly in an outreach program to these rural communities. Residents also mentioned poor state of schools, inadequate potable water and bad road network as some of the challenges confronting their communities. They particularly pleaded with the Metropolitan Chief Executive to have electricity extended to the communities before the commencement of the World Cup in June 2014. They did not want to miss any minute of action when the Black Stars take to the field in Brazil 2014.
Our major problem is the electricity. First is the electricity. And during every Ghanaian know that there is a World Cup is getting near. So in June to July. So we need the electricity so that we can also be part of the watching of the football, of the World Cup football. So we want a district chief of executive to help us for the lights to develop fast so that we can also get access to the World Cup watching.
So our main problem now is electricity. So we are appealing to the district chief executive to come to our aid and help us to commission lights faster. Other than that, every Ghanaian knows that the World Cup is just closer to us.
Apologies for the back and forth, but we now have Samson Ayenene on the line. Let's find out from him what this whole case means. Good evening to you, sir. Hello, good evening to you, Samson. Okay, the line has dropped again. Let's move on now. Consumers of electricity and water are yet to feel the increment in the quarterly tariff that has been introduced by the PURC. A visit by our news team to some various vendors in Osu and Labadi in an interaction revealed a reflection of the 9.73% increase in tariff of electricity.
The PURC last week announced an adjustment in electricity tariff by 9.7% and 6.8% in water, effective 1st January 2014. One vendor told the news team how the tariff adjustment has reflected in their sales.
Actually, we don't know about it, but previous one, so I started month in by I catch what I'm saying, increment in taking effect.
1st January, with the e-cash, and new colodia, who say, not on the system. When you buy, you see the actual amount that you bought. Maukuludia, 110% and 9.9 is 9 point something. I don't really know the point, and no, ever reflect on the meter, so it will reduce by that percentage.
Some consumers also explained how the adjustment has affected them.
Me fear there's a meter, na me the times who say na meter ni redefa. We be not say negative or natural negative. No what you see can be free. And on na ho ka na entiase. Say meter need to make sure negative. Na wo to see can no atie film dun bibi anka. E so reading the normal reading. Na ka yen say okay wo to wo de na asa. Enye say be negative wo do see can no asa atwi scan if me no na entiase. So mu cheche yen mu kakra.
2 weeks ago, we better credit to her. But me di shema I mean, for 2 weeks per penny. Near Nasa, and I'm some better for Frubium. Entity the Omutia pa, and Omuntibium, but still a moon says still a Omuti. Because only 2 weeks, and I'm better credit to her, Tetigan, and Nasa, and I'm some better for Frubium.
Good evening to you, Lawyer Samson Ladi Ayinene. Hello? Samson, can you hear me? Let's take a very quick breather here as we try to fix our phone lines. We'll get back to you very soon. So as we said earlier, the committee set up by the Chief Justice to investigate the WikiLeaks saga has thrown out the case. According to information available to Joynews, the allegations cannot be substantiated. Let's go on the phone line now and speak with lawyer Samson Ladi Ayinene to explore the issues. Good evening to you, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
Hi. Now, would you tell us from a lawyer's perspective whether this case was weak from the beginning?
I suspect you would. You may remember that from the very word go, I didn't want to appear to be judgmental from the start, so that you would allow the process to travel its full length, so you may be able to determine the merits or demerits thereof.
Yeah.
For as long as the Chief Justice was able to make a prima facie determination that the petition had weight and needed to be looked upon, it was not the best for anybody to be making prejudicial statements or making conclusive judgments. But I had labeled it as a gossip of a rumor, which I actually called it an empty rumor, so to speak.
Okay.
You would also remember that I did state very clearly from the beginning that as far as the constitutional provisions are concerned, the Judicial Council certainly does have the mandate so to look into such matters, and also when such matters are looked into, particularly when the matters concern specific named judges, then when they look into it and they find that those judges may have misconducted themselves in one way or the other, and always, not almost always, always, those judges who have been named are also invited so their side of the matter will be heard.
Yeah.
In this case, no judge was named. You have 9 members of a panel, and you had a sweeping comment to the effect that they had been compromised to some sort, level. And that, for me, was the biggest difficulty, aside the fact that the committee did not have the power to subpoena Miss Vicky Hammer, and her refusal to attend was also not going to be of anything that could be punished. Those who would have suffered some, disciplinary action if they failed to attend upon the committee would be the lawyers involved. That is Nana Oyeleta and Sir John himself.
Not to cut you, but are you by this saying that Ms. Hammer was not under any sort of obligation to, so to speak, appear before this committee?
Absolutely not. It was on her own volition to attend.
Okay.
And I have said that it's in her best interest to go and tell the committee, substantiate, or, as it were, tell the committee what she felt was the position she was discussing in that leak, which unfortunately was put out. This was a purely private conversation, but because it also bordered on such serious matters as, an attempt to compromise justice, which is a national, issue, that certainly needed to be giving the weight that it deserves. So I don't fault the Chief Justice for making the determination that prima facie there was a case to be looked into, and then she set up the committee as well. But the committee, from the very start, was fraught with a lot of difficulties. Two major difficulties which I have enumerated. And,
so these difficulties might have, and I say might have, caused the case to be thrown out, you say?
The very first difficulty is what made it weak from the start.
Okay.
You haven't named any particular judge. There are 9 of them. You name one, and that person is invited and asked, did you communicate with Nana Oyelita in respect of this petition, the judgment, before the judgment was given? What was the communication about? Did you receive money? Did you receive any promises so that you were supposed to compromise what would have been your professional, determination of the matter, and rather determine it, in another way? So there was no one to call. You cannot call any judge because none of them has been mentioned.
But we knew the 9 judges. We knew the 9 judges, and so we could have, having Ms. Hammer there, could have, brought out the particular judge which may be involved.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't name a judge, the case is at large.
Okay.
And it is not for the committee to go fishing for which judge you are referring to.
Okay.
And it is highly impossible. It is just impossible for one individual to compromise all the 9 judges. That cannot happen. That is unthinkable. That is absurd.
Okay. Thank you very much, Samson Ladi. Ayenine is a legal practitioner trying to help us digest the issues, so to speak. But we have on the line Kojo Usrefie, who is the General Secretary of Opposition New Patriotic Party. He actually petitioned the Chief Justice to have this matter investigated. Let's go to him and get his reaction. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening.
It must be.
It's a pleasure having me.
Yes, you're welcome, sir. It must be a blow to you. What reaction do you have to this?
Well, first of all, let me express my appreciation to her leadership, the Chief Justice, for setting up this committee chaired by Dr. Justice S.K. Datiba to probe into the allegation that was submitted for its attention. The committee invited me to appear before them, which I did. I explained the circumstances for which the petition was brought and buttressed my case with a tip that had the voice of Victoria Hammer, alleging that indeed the justices were seen by Nana Oyelita in a manner of influencing them to procure judgment for the NDC. And having stated that, Nana Oyelita was also invited. Obviously, she denied that she had not gone to see any of their options. But what was pushed out was that, in spite of the fact that the committee had invited Ms. Victoria Hammer on about 3 occasions to appear before it to throw some light onto the tip that is attributable to her, she failed to appear on all those occasions. She even did not give the committee any reasons why she would not attend. My understanding from the committee was that because they did not have the power to compel Victoria Hammer to appear before it, they were concluding their investigation into the matter. So for me, the only reason why they had concluded as they did that there was no evidence was because the person who made that statement had failed to appear before it to clarify the position.
Okay.
And it's also instructive to note that for all this time, Victoria Hammer has still not denied that the statement was her statement. Indeed, she caused the arrest of her own driver, that it was her driver who had recorded her, indicating that that record was true and factual.
On that note, sir, John, let me find out from you. On that note, sir, let me find out from you, because you've already laid out your issues. They are clear. What will be your next line of action now that this case has been thrown out?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, this matter is still in coma. It is not dead and buried yet. And I can assure you that it will continue to engage people who have interest in the administration of justice and people who want to get to the bottom and the truth of the matter. Indeed, until and unless Victoria Hammer comes to deny that statement, it will continue to be out there in the public. It will continue to represent the truth of the matter and nothing more. And therefore, in spite of the fact that the committee says that they do not have any evidence, available to it to conclude, other than what he did. Victoria Hammer is still alive. She is not dead. And one of the things that also engaged my attention was the fact that there were several women in the NDC or Ghana flat, and that she did not mention any other person's name apart from Nana Oyelita. Okay. It is only Victoria Hammer who would come and tell us why it was Nana Oyelita whose name, was mentioned. Okay. And whether or not what she said did not represent the truth. So the matter is gone, but not yet buried.
As far as you're concerned, you're going to pursue it further.
If I may add, that like Pontius Pilate, who decided to wash his hands of Jesus' death. To date, when Jesus' death comes to be mentioned, Jesus was said to have suffered and crucified under Pontius Pilate. Then it would have wished that this matter would go. John Mahama would have wished that it should go, but it is not going to go. Because as long as John Mahama had not denied the statement that is attributable to her, this matter will continue to linger on.
Thank you very much, Sir John. Kojo Wosrefuye is the General Secretary of the opposition NPP and the person who petitioned the Chief Justice to look into this matter. Well, let's move on with other issues now. The Judgment Debt Commission has postponed its first sitting for 2014. Official indications were that sitting would resume on January 6th, following last month's fire outbreak at the Old Parliament House in Accra. However, Public Relations Officer George Dove tells Joynews the Commission has been forced to reschedule sittings.
On December 19, between the hours of 4 and 9 a.m., the Old Parliament building that houses the Judgment Debt Commission, Iyoko and Shraj, was destroyed by a raging inferno that took firefighters more than 2 hours to put out. The fire completely razed down the entire structure of the building, leaving the place desolate and uninhabitable. 3 weeks after the fire, the embers from the inferno at some portions of the building were yet to die out. One of the promises officials made at the time was that the fire outbreak would not affect their work much when they resumed sitting on January 6. But now,
the next hearing of the judgment, we don't have a substantive date that we will be resumed, but very soon, because we've gotten a new place where work is currently ongoing. The place is being renovated and the equipment will be put in place for the commission to resume sittings. Prior to the place getting banned, we knew we were going to sit on the set. But since equipment are damaged, we need to replace the equipment. And also, because of the holiday break, the equipment are not things that you easily go for. We need to source for it before we get it, before they will be installed. And the place too is being renovated. They need to equip the place.
Public Relations Officer of the Commission, George Dove, however, says all documents needed to help speed up ongoing investigations were still intact.
We have copies of all the documents that got banned because our type of filing system, we do make copies of the documents that got banned. But there are some which are more of personal documents which cannot be replaced. But we believe with the support of some institutions, we'll be able to get the ones that we don't readily have. But the ones that we did work with, we have all in place.
George Dove would not disclose where the commission will have its sessions, but indicated plans were far advanced to put the place in order.
The security of the place, it's all being considered. That's why we are not in a rush to just say we're going to sit, because there are a lot of government houses that we could just move in and begin sitting. But we need to put everything in place.
The delay in refurbishment of the Commission's new office, he noted, will not affect its work when sitting ends in April.
The Ministry of Health says it will replace obsolete equipment and retool all hospitals across the country. The Ministry of Health, under the National Medical Equipment Replacement Project, will start this project from 6th of January 2014 to the 28th of February 2014, spanning a total of 9 weeks. The installation of medical equipment will be done in all 85 district hospitals. Facilities to be benefited under this project are rehabilitation and construction works, equipment replacement, maintenance and training for end users for more than 150 hospitals of the National Health Network. Among them, 2 teaching hospitals, 7 regional hospitals, more than 125 district hospitals, 14 health centers and 8 mobile clinics. The equipment will include that of radiology, MRI, computerized tomography, digital mammography and equipment for surgical services. Let's go to the Ashanti region now. Hundreds of vehicle owners stormed the region's office of the DVLA to secure 2014 registration numbers for the vehicles. A cross-section of the stranded car owners called for the provision of bigger parking lot. A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
By 3 p.m., the long queue was evident of the desire of vehicle owners to acquire 2014 registration numbers. The stretch along the Abuabo Airport runabout to the offices of the DVLA was taken over by vehicles at the main entrance of the authority's office. The queue had become thicker, with several drivers compelled to park on the shoulders of the road. Frustrated drivers asked the DVLA to provide a bigger and more secured parking space. The regional manager of the authority, Jacob Abidja, disagreed with the drivers on the provision of a bigger parking lot.
We have not authorized them to go by the roadside. They are there, they parked there. Some started parking 3 days ago, but it is not the responsibility of DVLA to go and tell them to park up the street. If you enter our yard, it should be orderly. So that is why we know our capacity to register, the capacity for a day. So we allow specific number of vehicles into the yard to control all activities. Because apart from registration, a lot of activities like licensing, like roadworthiness, a lot of things goes on here. It's not only registration at this period. So it's not the monopoly of people coming to register for the day.
Jacob Abidja also explained the new charges.
We have the rates fixed to the board for the public to know. The rates are there. So if you do the assessment, you pay the fee, you go to the bank. We have a on-site bank here. And the rate, depending on the assessment done, you pay. The receipt will be issued to you electronically. It's not a handwritten one, like this.
Meanwhile, drivers who used trade number plates in 2013 have been cautioned to renew them or risk arrest. About 150 vehicles were already registered on Thursday.
Back to politics now. The Progressive People's Party says it will on Saturday, January 11, 2014, take the party's anti-corruption campaign to Cape Coast in the central region of Ghana. The party says the latest Auditor General's report reveals massive looting of state monies and expressed worry about that. It cited some 4 billion cedis as having been lost, with emphasis on the need to evolve Ghana's local governance system to enable it fight and prevent corruption. The party also said the need to remove the democratic deficit in Ghana's governance system with a direct and popular election of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executive is a key reform that must take place for transparent and good accountable governance to prevail. The party mentions 3 key issues: removing the hand of the executive, that is the presidency, from the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies through popular election of the MMDCEs by the people, and 2, turning the office of Attorney General into an independent prosecutor office separate from the Ministry of Justice, so that the office is removed from the negative influence of partisan politics, and 3, separating the legislature, that is Parliament, from the executive, so that effective checks and balance can operate without fear or favor. And that's it. When we return from this break, Abigail Aduma-Koentri will join me for business. So where do you prefer to do your shopping, or what kind of marketing do you prefer? Abigail Aduma-Koentri joins me in the studio and she has some answers.
Well, exactly. So we'll move straight away, and online shopping is gradually gaining grounds in the country owing to evolving technologies. But how are the players in the industry surmounting the risk associated with it, and Ghanaians embracing this new trend as well?
With technology hitting the market, trading activities took a different dimension. Online markets evolved, leaving many to buy and sell across the globe at the comfort of their homes. One only needs to identify an online shop through internet surf, feed in credit account details, and gets the needed items delivered. The traffic situation, particularly in Ghana, makes online shopping an exciting one for some Ghanaians.
It's very easy, okay, for people who are, much more abreast with computers. Okay, they get to shop very fast because maybe they live maybe at places which are very far from shopping malls or maybe business centers. Okay, so they just place their orders online or interact with any business organizations who use those avenues.
Shopping online may save time and be less stressful, but for many, its safety is questionable.
Have you ever tried to buy anything online?
No.
Why?
I don't think it's safe.
Why don't you think it's safe? People do it.
Yeah, people do it, but to me, I don't think it's safe because the people may get away with your money. You don't know where you are going to locate them. So to me, I think it's not safe. So I don't try it at all.
So you prefer walking to the shop to buy it instead of sitting at home to buy it online?
Sure.
Well, personally, I have not tried shopping online before. That is because the internet is quite insecure, and shopping online you have to give so much details on your accounts and your finances, which makes you vulnerable to internet fraud. So I personally have not attempted before, but then if it were secured, it is not bad at all.
The online market is, however, growing big. Mabel Simpson has been managing an online shop since 2010. She sells online African dresses, bags, among other accessories, but says the international market is a great motivation. For her, the systems for a well-established and secured online market are in place, but Ghanaians only need to embrace the trend.
We need to try and take advantage of what's going on around us in the world, try to embrace technology. People don't have the time these days, so an online shop, it's the way to go. Life is about risk. We need to take the risk. Security is in place. You need to be sure of, or you need to ask people who've shopped from that particular online shop before if they've had any challenges. And then also it's up to us in the industry to make sure that whatever is available, we stick to our words. Whatever is it's online is available for people to, purchase, yes. But I think that Ghanaians need to embrace online shopping.
She says the benefits of online shopping cannot be underestimated in our part of the world.
People all over the world can have access to your products. And it gives you exposure as well because you get clients that you don't even get to meet. And it's good for business as well because they recommend, once they get the product and they realize that whatever is online is what they're actually getting, they recommend you to other people as well. For us, you don't have to waste time going through all the traffic. It saves time. It saves money because if you're going to move your car to somewhere, you're going to spend money on fuel. Meanwhile, yes, if someone is going to deliver, there are going to be delivery charges. But then you can just sit in your office. If you shop on our site, we have delivery options. So you can either have it delivered or you can come and pick it up from the shop later.
Prompt delivery, which remains a challenge for online shops, she says, must be worked on. But for now, Ghana only needs to open up to the market as other countries have to reap its benefits fully. Abigail Aduma-Koentri for Joynews.
Now to some more stories. Market women at the Malamata market on Friday protested new market tolls yet to be introduced by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. According to the market women, the Assembly is unilaterally imposing the new fees on them.
The ISD van would not even complete its announcement of the new charges when the women quickly jumped out of their seats and stalls to scream and chant, "Yentia, Yentia." The Yentia protest, the women say, is in relation to the sudden high tolls the AMA is seeking to charge, but which they say would negatively affect their businesses.
20 pesos to 50 pesos. And yet, the cra, Yabajo, so I am Toshi. And I saw coffee after 2 more, my baby. Yabakoyana. What do you bring up a Yasikabia? Now 5,000 no Mudi and the Pamucho, Payenya. Yenya cry, Yenya, slow. And Yabago, now what she? They say, I want to hear you. They be a tear to it as ever, yes, so see about 5,000. So, I want you to hear you. They be 5,000. Never see.
The women also complained that though they paid 20 pesos in the past, the assembly failed to put the market in good shape. They accused the AMA of shirking its responsibility and leaving the market untidy. They again say this has resulted in poor patronage of the market. The traders vowed to resist the imposition of the toll till the assembly lived up to its responsibilities. The new fee of 50 pesos is set to be rolled out from Monday, January 6th, 2014.
Well, so we'll try and reach the AMA to get more answers as to why these new tolls. But for now, I'm done. I'm Abigail Adumakwenchi. Gifty and Apia returns with more news.
Time now to do some sports. An injured Andre Ayew is expected to be back to competition shortly. His return is expected to considerably bolster an Olympic Marseille side that is harboring big ambitions for the second half of the season. Injured in Ghana's World Cup play-off against Egypt, Andre Ayew's last appearance for his club came in the Champions League Matchday 4 clash against Napoli on November 6, 2013. The president of Ligue 1 strugglers Valenciennes, Jean-Raymond Legrand, has confirmed the club have agreed to sign Ghanaian attacker Majid Warez on loan until the end of the season from Russian outfit Spartak Moscow. The 22-year-old attacker played a role in Ghana's qualification efforts for this year's World Cup. According to Valenciennes' official website, the player will bring pace and power to the Valenciennes attacking line. This is the first in a series of moves that Valenciennes are aiming to pull off during this January window as they look to find the ammunition to propel themselves back up the League One table and out of the danger zone. And FIFA President Sepp Blatter has proposed the use of a time penalty as a deterrent to diving in football. Blatter feels players who get treatment but are not badly injured should have to wait longer before rejoining play. Blatter added he finds it deeply irritating when the half-dead player comes back to life as soon as they have left the pitch. All right, so in tonight's showbiz, we're taking you straight to our newsroom. Now, the Joynews room end-of-year party was a bang. All work and no play, they say, makes Jack a dull boy. So multimedia journalists, video editors, technicians, among others, show how well they can dance in the following report.
It was a party like no other. Colleagues from other departments were there to add a touch of friendship. It was all exciting seeing news personnel, technical team, and all associated with the award-winning news network coming together to celebrate the new year. Dancing was a contest no judge could determine a winner. Azonto, Asabone, and all was involved. Head of news Emma Morrison showed she could do the Azonto. And for waist wriggling and hand twisting, there was a stronger contest. The head of Joynews, Emma Morrison, commended the team for their hard work.
You know, after the new year, well, the Christmas, a lot of you worked. Thank you very much for that. And also thank you to those who worked during the new year. Thank you very much. You did a marvelous job. We thought that we would just have something to eat and something to drink, just to, you know, also chill out a bit, because we know how it is very difficult doing news and current affairs all the time when others are chilling out at beaches and all that kind of stuff. So my message to you all is that 2013 was quite a good year for Joynews. Okay. There were who was that? There were a few awards that we know of. We had the CNN award because of Gifty, GG Awards, and also another RTP award.
It was all dancing as they wrapped up the year and opened a new one.
Well, that was our pregnant news assignment editor there. Unfortunately, I wasn't there to show you how well I can do when it comes to dancing. But that's it for Showbiz. That's it for the bulletin. Our top stories for this hour again. The Bar Committee throws out WikiLeaks case. Public health authorities are warning of a major public health crisis due to the use of recycled bottles in the sale of local beverages. Judgment Commission has postponed its first sitting for 2014 following the fire outbreak at the Old Parliament House some weeks ago. In politics, aspiring NPP General Secretary blames leadership of the party for its defeat in 2 presidential elections. Also, the Ministry of Health is to replace obsolete equipment at 85 district hospitals. In business, market women at Malamata Market in Accra are vowing to resist payment of new tolls by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. That's it. But for more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. You can also be a part of our social media platforms on Facebook /Joynews TV or follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at Joynews TV. My name is Gifty Andropia. Many thanks for your time. Do have a good evening.